In Part 5, explore the wondrous temple of Ramses the Great, his triumphant battles, and the great love story between Ramses and Nefertari. Day 5 of our expedition starts with an early morning ride down the vast expanses of the southern Egyptian desert to the southernmost point of Egypt on the border with Sudan to see the giant monuments of one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. Ramses II had these two wondrous temples carved right out of the mountains of stone.
It's amazing, because there's nothing else like it. It's beautiful temple on the outside, it's colossal, and it's even better on the inside.
The first and the largest of the temples at Abu Simbel have 4 statues of Ramses II seated on the throne of power, and at his knee is his wife, Nefertari. The entrance is flanked by Hapi, who is tying Egypt together, symbolizing Ramses' rule of Upper and Lower Egypt. The first hallway is lined with statues of Ramses, and on the ceiling the goddess Nekhbet, symbolizing that this hallway is pure. And on the inside is one of Ramses' most notable battles, the Battle of Kadesh. I want to show you here, this is probably one of the most important things of Abu Simbel. It is the Battle of Kadesh. Here is Ramses on his chariot, shooting his bow and arrow at the enemies, and you can see he's got another person on the chariot with him. So it's 2 people per chariot. And some of us like to speculate that this is probably the biggest battle in ancient history. 20,000 horses on the Egyptian side and 20,000 horses on the Hittite side. Approximately 80,000 men. But isn't it just incredible? And you can see the color on him still. The skin, the blue on the crown. And that crown, Karen, is called the Kepresh crown. The Kepresh crown was only worn during very special times and war. So if you see that, you know something important's happening. The horse is amazing. You can tell it's a male horse. And the horse is actually trampling on its enemies. You can see it here. Let me show you this. See this, Karen? This is Kadesh. And that's the fortress. And here are the people. They're frightened of Ramses. They're bowing down. And here, the horse is about to trample this man. And notice how small he makes his enemies and how big Ramses is. They do this all the time in Egyptian art, not just Ramses. But this will show that he is the stronger one. So that's what this is about. And then up there, he's worshipping all of the gods, thanking them. And there he is thanking Amun. He's saying to Amun, "Thank you for giving me the strength to fight my battles. And here is the reward I'm giving you from Kadesh." He's handing it over to the hidden god. Abu Simbel is a giant monument to Ramses' battle at Kadesh, where we see him fighting directly against the enemies. The scenes from Kadesh would be repeated on almost every temple Ramses built. Inside Abu Simbel are various walls depicting exactly what happened during the Battle of Kadesh. We see the king on his chariot with his soldiers, surrounding the city, shooting arrows at the Hittites. While they were shooting, they ran away, reloading to come back and refire again. And finally, we see Ramses on the throne of Egypt, receiving gifts from officials of the Hittites. Years after the Battle of Kadesh, Ramses and the ruler of Kadesh signed a peace treaty, the first of its kind, but many do not know that this idea was sprung from the mind of Ramses' principal wife, Nefertari. The side chambers are very modestly painted with white and blue, and we see Ramses giving offerings to the gods, Ptah, Anubis, and a very important one, Ma'at, showing that balance has been restored to Egypt. It's recorded that Ramses had over 100 children with his various wives, so it's fitting that we see him here worshipping the god Amun-Min, the god of fertility. Yet the most intriguing image of Ramses worshipping a god is of this god who's quite strange, shown with the ram's horns and the sun disk of Ra being worshipped by Ramses. But when you look at the names next to this god, it appears that Ramses has turned himself into a god. Although Ramses had many wives, the love of his life would be Nefertari. They met when they were still teenagers, before Ramses became king. In the inner sanctuary of Abu Simbel is one of the most beautiful images I've seen. It's Ramses shown as a young prince, with Nefertari. She's holding him on the arm, and she's pulling him from behind his head. She's pulling him closer, which would suggest that she's about to kiss him. And by seeing this lets you know just how much they were in love. Twice a year, the 3 statues of the inner sanctuary are illuminated, of Ra, Amun, Ramses himself, and the god of the shadows, Ptah. The second temple is dedicated to Ramses' greatest love, Nefertari. In various scenes in this temple, we can see Nefertari giving offerings directly to the goddess Hathor, invoking love and happiness into her and her husband's life. The inner hallway is lined with the faces of Hathor on each column. We know that Ramses was born on the border of Israel and Egypt in the city of Avaris and had red hair. However, as for Nefertari, we're not sure of her parentage. However, evidence from her tomb suggests she may have been related to Pharaoh I, who is the possible father of Nefertiti. Nefertari means the most beautiful of all, and her images evoke this immensely. Inside Nefertari's temple, which is the most beautiful temple at Abu Simbel, in my opinion, we have the innermost sanctuary, where we have a little bird flying in with its babies. Cute. That's love right there. But love here is abundant. It's Hathor, the cow goddess, and she is here with Nefertari in front of her. And on the side, not in a statue, in a carving, is Ramses II worshipping Hathor and his wife, Nefertari. Now, Ramses is shown here very clearly worshipping his wife. No other king worshipped his wife. To the right is Ramses seated, ruling Egypt equally, showing how important she was. The sad part of the story is that Nefertari never got to see her temple being finished, as she died around the age of 30. Leaving Ramses' life changed forever. In part 6, while enjoying the spoils of Aswan, we head to the island temple of Philae dedicated to the goddess Isis, the unfinished obelisk up close, and how Egypt came to an end.